at stage 9, paragraph page 716. Last headword was fall asleep, newer type of lesson. Okay, so 716. Okay,
Yep.
716. Okay, so let's start with our revision. Okay, let me just scroll down. Okay, here we go. First question. What does the idiom for heaven's sake mean? What does the idiom for heaven's sake mean? The idiom for
The idiom,
heaven's sake means
for heaven's sake,
a
may
very strong form
a
of
very
please.
strong form of
Please.
praise.
Very good. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. For heaven's sake.
For
Don't
heaven's
do
sake,
that again,
don't do that
or I'll
again,
be very angry.
or I'll be very angry.
Very good. In English, if a verb is followed immediately by another verb, what form must the second verb be? In English, if a verb is followed immediately by another verb, what form must the second verb be? In English, if
In
a
English,
verb is
it's
followed
a verb.
immediately,
Sorry.
in English,
In
if
English,
a verb
if a
is
verb
followed immediately
is followed
by
immediately
another verb,
by another
the
verb,
second verb must be
the second verb
either
must be
an
either
infinitive
an
or
infinitive
a gerund.
or a gerund.
Tell me some verbs that are followed by an infinitive. Tell me some verbs that are followed by an infinitive, please. Some verbs that
Some
are
verbs
followed by
that are
an
followed
infinitive
by
are
an infinitive are
ask, agree,
ask,
refuse,
agree,
and manage.
refuse, and
Very
manage.
good. Tell me some verbs that are followed by a gerund. Tell me some verbs that are followed by a gerund, please. Some verbs that
Some
are
verbs
followed
that are
by a
followed
gerund are
by a gerund are
deny, avoid,
deny, avoid,
practice, and miss.
practice, and
B-
miss.
Very good. Is the verb promise followed by an infinitive or a gerund? Is the verb promise followed by an infinitive or a gerund? The verb promise
The verb
is
promise
followed by
is
an
followed
infinitive.
by an infinitive.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. He promised to
He
try
promised
harder
to try
next
harder
time.
next time.
Is the verb consider followed by an infinitive or a gerund? Is the verb consider followed by an infinitive or a gerund? The verb consider
The verb
is
consider
followed by a
is
gerund.
followed by a gerund.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. You should consider
You
buying
should
a new
consider
car.
buying a new car.
Very good. Why do you suppose some people, especially children, are afraid of the dark? Why do you suppose some people, especially children, are afraid of the dark? I suppose some
I
people,
suppose some
especially
people,
children,
especially
are
children,
afraid of the dark
are
because of the dark,
afraid
of the dark,
of the dark
because they imagine
because they
things
imagine
that are not
things
there.
that are not there.
Very good. Why are some people more afraid that they might get killed if they travel by plane than by other means of transport? Why are some people more afraid that they might get killed if they travel by plane than by other means of transport? Some people
Some
are
people
more afraid
are more afraid
that they might get
that
killed
they might get killed
if they travel by
if they
plane
travel by
than
plane,
by other means
by the
than by
by
other
than
means
by other
of
means
transport
of
because
transport
a plane
because
crash
a plane
is
crash
front page
is
news.
front page news.
Very good. Give me an example of the word afraid used in an apology. Give me an example of the word afraid used in an apology, please. I'm afraid. I
I'm
can't
afraid
help you.
I can't help you.
Well, for what purpose does a cat use its whiskers? For what purpose does a cat use its whiskers? A cat uses
A cat
its
uses
whiskers to measure
its whiskers
to measure the
to measure the
width of a gap.
of
The width,
width
like the
of
width, like how wide the width
width,
of a gap
width of the gap
in a fence
is a
or a
fence
hedge
or the
to
hedge
see if it
to
is
see
possible
if it is
possible
possible
to get through the gap
to get through the gap
without using force
without using
and
the
making
force
a lot of
and
noise.
making a lot of noise.
Ray, do you think it's a good idea for students to have a gap year between finishing school and starting university? Do you think it's a good idea for students to have a gap year between finishing school and starting university? Yes or no?
No,
I
no,
don't think
I don't
it's a
think
good idea
it's a good
for
idea
students
for
to have a
students
gap
to
year
have a gap year
between finishing school
between finishing
and
school
starting
and
university.
starting university
Why? Why do you think so? Because
because the gap year is a waste of time.
waste of time. Very good. Do you have to mind the gap between the train and the edge of the platform at some stations? Do you have to mind the gap between the train and the edge of the platform at some stations? Yes, we have to
Yes,
mind the
we
gap
have to mind the
between
gap
the train
between the
and
train
the edge
and the
of the
edge
platform
of the
at
platform
some stations.
at some stations.
Very good. What's a hall? What's a hall? A hall
A
is a
hall,
large room.
it's a large,
Room.
large room.
Give me some examples of different types of hall. Give me some examples of different types of hall, please. Some examples
Some
of
examples
different types
of
of
different
hall
types
are
of hall are
entrance hall
entrance
and
hall
town hall.
and town hall.
What's a town hall? What's a town hall? A town hall
A town
is a
hall
large building
is a large
that
building
is used
that is
for local
used
government
for local
and
government
public meetings.
and public
Very
meetings.
good. What is a pool? What is a pool? A pool
A
is a
pool
small amount
is a small
of
amount
liquid
of
that
liquid
has collected
that has
in
collected
one place.
in one
Give
place.
me some examples. Give me some examples, please. A pool of water,
A pool of
a
water,
pool of blood,
a
etc.
pool of blood, etc.
What are the advantages of an indoor swimming pool? What are the advantages of an indoor swimming pool? The advantages
The
of an
advantages
indoor
of
swimming
an
pool
indoor swimming pool
are that the water
are that the
can be
water
heated more
can be
easily
heated more
and
easily
one can swim
and one can
in
swim
it in any
in
kind
it
of weather.
in any kind of weather.
Which do you prefer, an indoor or an outdoor swimming pool? Which do you prefer, an indoor or an outdoor swimming pool? I prefer
I prefer
an
an outdoor
swimming pool
swimming pool
than an indoor swimming
than
pool. Than
indoor
an
swimming
indoor
pool
swimming pool.
than an indoor swimming pool.
Where do you spend most of your time, indoors or outdoors? Do you spend most of your time indoors or outdoors? I spend most
I
of my
spend
time.
most of my time outdoors.
Very good. Okay. What do we call this joint of the leg? What do we call this joint of the leg? We call that
We
joint
call
of the leg
the joint of the
a
leg
knee.
a knee.
On what occasions do people kneel? On what occasions do people kneel? The occasions on
The
which
occasions,
people kneel,
wait,
on
sorry,
which
on which
people kneel
people
are
kneel
when they say
or when
their
they
prayers,
say their
etc.
prayers, etc.
Very good. Who was the leader of the late government in your country? Who was the leader of the late government in your country? The leader of
The
the late
leader
government
of the late
in my
government
country
in
was
my country was Mr. Kishida.
there. Oh, late. The late. That's the current. So the late
Yeah.
was like Suga. Yeah.
Previous.
Previous, like
Oh,
late is like previous. Okay, one more.
okay.
The
Mr.
leader
Suga. The leader
of the late government
of the late
in my
government
country was
in my
Suga.
country was Mr. Suga.
Mr. Sugar, very good. What do we mean when we speak about the late Mr. Johnson? What do we mean when we speak about the late Mr. Johnson? When we speak about
When we
the
speak
late
about
Mr.
the
Johnson,
late Mr.
we
Z.
mean the
Johnson,
Mr. Johnson
we mean that Mr.
who
Johnson,
has recently died.
who has recently died.
Have you seen any good films at the cinema lately? Have you seen any good films at the cinema lately? Yes or no?
No,
I haven't seen
I haven't
any
seen
good films
any good
at the
films
cinema lately.
at the cinema lately.
Where do many women like to match their handbags with their shoes? Do many women like to match their handbags with their shoes? Yes, many women
Yes, Many
like to
women
match their
like to match
handbags
their
with
handbags
their shoes.
with their shoes.
Wiggy, do you think a small man who was good at judo would be a match for a big man who knew how to box? Do you think a small man who was good at judo would be a match for a big man who knew how to box? Yes or no?
No,
I don't think a
I don't
small
think
man who
as
was
a
good
small man.
who was good at judo who was good.
Hello.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry,
no problem. Let me just scroll
internet
down.
was
Unstable.
inconsistent.
Oh, no problem. Okay, so we are at judo. Oh, here we go. So one more. Okay, no, I don't think
No, I don't think
a small man
a small
who
man
was good at judo
who was good at judo
would be a match
would be a
for a big
match
man
for a big
who
man
knew how to
who
box.
knew how to
Very
box.
good. Our football matches usually held at the weekend or during the week. Our football matches usually held at the weekend or during the week. Football matches
Football
are
matches
usually held
are usually
at
held
the weekend.
as a weekend.
What color clothes do European people usually wear for a funeral? What color clothes do European people usually wear for a funeral? European people
European
usually
people
wear black.
usually wear
Black
black
for a funeral.
for a funeral.
Do you like reading mystery stories? Do you like reading mystery stories? Yes or no?
Yes,
I like reading
I like
mystery
reading
stories.
mystery stories.
Why do we have a path in a garden? Why do we have a path in a garden? We have a path
We
in
have
a
a path
garden
in a
so
garden
that people
so that
don't walk
people
on the grass
don't walk on the ground
or on the flowers.
or on the flowers.
Regid, is it the law in your country that everyone has to insure their car against accidents? Is it the law in your country that everyone has to insure their car against accidents? Yes or no?
Yes,
It's the law in my
it's a
country
law in my
that
country
everyone has
that
to
everyone
insure their
has
car
doing insure their car
against accidents.
against accident.
Reggie, do you have any insurance against loss or theft of your personal possessions? Do you have any insurance against loss or theft of your personal possessions? Yes or no?
Yes,
I have some
I
insurance
have some
against
insurance
loss
against
or
loss
theft
or theft
for my personal
for my
possessions.
personal possessions.
Very good. What do we call the chair a king or queen sits on? What do we call the chair a king or queen sits on? We call the chair
We call the
a
chair
king or
a
queen
king or
sits
queen
on
sits
a
on
throne.
a throne.
Very good. Does it annoy you when you're watching a film at the cinema and someone in the audience keeps talking? Does it annoy you when you're watching a film at the cinema and someone in the audience keep talking? Yes or no?
Uh,
Uh,
yes,
It annoys me
it annoys me
when I'm watching a
when I'm
film
watching
at the
a
cinema
film at the
and
cinema
someone in the
and
audience
someone in the
keeps
audience
talking.
keeps talking.
Right? If a fly was flying around your head while you were trying to fall asleep, would you get annoyed or would you be able to ignore it? If a fly was flying around your head while you were trying to fall asleep, would you get annoyed or would you be able to ignore it? If a fly was
If a
flying
fly
around my
was
head
flying around my head
while I was trying
while I was
to fall
trying
asleep,
to fall asleep,
I'd
I'd be angry.
I'd be annoyed.
I'd be annoyed.
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 Very good. Okay, same as angry. Okay, that's the end of our revision. Let's have new word. Okay, repeat. Sore.
Sore.
Very good. Okay, listen. Sore is an adjective. If part of your body is sore, it causes you pain and discomfort. For example, if I rub my finger on the edge of the table like this for a long time, I get a sore finger. The best thing to do for a sore throat is to gargle warm water with salt. Let's practice. What do you think is the best thing to do for a sore throat? What do you think is the best thing to do for a sore throat? I think the
I
best thing
think
to do
the best thing to
for a
do
sore throat
for sore throat
is to
is
gargle warm water,
to gargle or
warm water
warm water
with salt.
with salt.
Very good. If you rub your finger on the edge of the table like this for a long time, what did happen? If you rub your finger on the edge of the table like this for a long time, what did happen? If I rub my
If I
finger
lay my
on the
finger
edge of the
on the
table
edge of the
like
table
that
like
for a
that
long time,
for a long
I'd
time,
get a sore finger.
I get a sore finger.
Very good. Next, repeat design.
Design,
Very good. Okay, listen. Design is a verb. If something is designed for a particular purpose, it is intended for that purpose. For example, the name of a company that is famous for making beautifully designed products is Toyota. Let's practice. Tell me the name of a company that's famous for making beautifully designed products. Tell me the name of a company that's famous for making beautifully designed products, please. The name of a
the name
company
of a
that's
company
famous
that
for,
famous
for making
for
beautifully
making
designed products
its beautiful design product.
is
It's a company name,
a company name that's making good product,
Toy,
beautiful.
Toyota,
Toyota.
Nissan,
Toyota.
Honda, etc.
Yeah, very Subaru also, my favorite. Okay, very good.
Okay.
Okay, let's have idiom 30. Keep your finger crossed.
Keep your finger crossed.
Very good. Okay, listen. Keep your fingers crossed like that is an idiom that means wish for good luck. For example, good luck with the exam. I'll keep my finger crossed for you. Okay, let's practice. What does the idiom keep your fingers crossed mean? What does the idiom keep your fingers crossed mean? The idiom
The
keep your
idiom
fingers
keep your
crossed
fingers
means
crossed
wish for
means
good luck.
wish for good luck.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. It's quite a cloudy
It's
day
quite a
for a picnic. Cloudy day
crowded day
for a picnic.
for a picnic.
So we'll just have
So we'll
to keep. So
just
we'll just have
just have
to keep our fingers
to
crossed.
keep our
Fingers
finger
crossed.
fingers crossed.
It doesn't rain.
It doesn't rain.
Very good. One more. It's quite a cloudy
It's quite
day
a
for a
crowded day
picnic.
for a picnic.
So we'll just have
So we'll
to keep.
just
So we'll just have
just have
well, like have HAV. So we'll just have
just have
to keep our
to
fingers
keep
crossed.
our fingers crossed.
It doesn't rain.
It doesn't rain.
Very good. Is it the custom in your country for people to cross their fingers when they wish for something? If not, what do they do instead? Is it the custom in your country for people to cross their fingers when they wish for something? If not, what do they do instead? Yes or no?
No,
It isn't the custom
it isn't the
in my
customs
country
in
for
my country
people to
for
cross their
people
fingers
to cross their
when
fingers
they wish for
when they
something.
wish for something.
Instead, they
Instead, they,
put their hands together.
oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
They put their hands
Puts the hands together.
together. Very good. Okay, now let's have compound adjectives.
Compound adjectives.
Very good. Okay, repeat compound.
Compound.
Very good. Okay, now let's talk about compound adjectives. Okay, listen. Sometimes words can be put together to make compound adjectives. Okay, so we put two words together, it becomes a compound adjective. For example, a child that behaves well can be called a well behaved child. The phrase well behaved is a compound adjective. Two words, well and behave. One common way of making compound adjectives is by putting an adverb or adjective together with a participle. For example, a wedding that has been planned badly could be called a badly planned wedding. Okay, let's practice. Give me an example of a compound adjective made by putting an adverb or adjective together with a participle. Give me an example of a compound adjective made by putting an adverb or adjective together with a participle, please. A beautifully designed
A
jacket.
beautifully designed
A
jacket,
slow moving train.
a slow moving train.
Right? Which do you think is more important for a long lasting marriage, love or respect? Which do you think is more important for a long lasting marriage, love or respect? I think
I think
love or respect
love
is more important
is more
than
important
respect
than
for a
respect
long lasting
for
marriage.
long lasting
Right?
marriage.
Which is the most well known restaurant in your town? Which is the most well known restaurant in your town? The ABC restaurant
ABC
is
restaurant
the most well
is the
known
most
restaurant
well known restaurant
in my town.
in my town.
Very good. Okay, so now let's move on to your reading.
Okay.
Okay, reading is at stage 7, paragraph page 566. Stage 7,
Yep.
566. And the last headword was adverbs of frequency. Frequency. Start with the fourth question. Put the word usually.
Puts the word usually in the sentence, please. She can answer his questions. She can usually answer his questions. Put the word always in the sentence, please. We spend the Christmas holidays with our family. We always spend the Christmas holidays with our family. Put the word often in the sentence, please. They don't go swimming. They don't they don't often go swimming.
Mhm.
Put the word also in the sentence, please. You must study in class and you must practice your English outside the lesson. You must study you must study
In class,
in class
you must
and you must also
practice
practice your English outside the lesson. Put the word even in the sentence, please. I can't boil an egg. I can't even boil an egg. Oil. How can oil be transported from one part of a country to another? Oil can be transported from one part of a country to another on lorries or through very big pipes. Is oil used a lot in cooking in your country? Yes, oil is used a lot in cooking in my country. Hard,
as
heat,
heat. Yeah.
heat, radiator,
Radiator.
radiator, central heating.
Very good.
What is the verb and the noun for the adjective hot? The verb, the verb,
And the
the
noun.
verb and the
The noun.
noun for the adjective hot is heat.
Very good.
Do we prefer the heat of the summer rather than the cold of the winter? Yes, I prefer the heat of the summer rather than the cold of the winter. Why? Because I like summer.
Mhm. How
How
is
is this
this room
room
heated?
heated? This room is heated by electric
Fired.
electric fires. In your country, which is cheaper, central heating or electric fires? In my country, electric fires is
Cheaper than.
cheaper than central heating.
Mhm.
Lack sufficient credit. When you lack sufficient money to buy something, do you wait and save the money or do you buy it on credit? When I lack sufficient money to buy something, I I'd wait
And save.
and save the money.
Very good. Okay, so we stop there for today, but very good reading, very good dictation. Let's continue in a while.